All right, we apologize for that technical glitch. That is the beauty of live shows. Anything goes, Daktari. That's the beauty of live shows. Anything goes. If you amen. And of course, as I mentioned earlier on, we had some technical glitch. That is Dr. Joseph Murimi, the founder of Save a Life. He was mentioning what it is all about. Daktari, just say it just one more time, and for the benefit of somebody who's meeting you for the first time today. I said earlier, we have Save a Life, and it is actually changing people in the country.
Yes, my name is... I'm a founder of Save a Life organization, and what we do at Save a Life, we transform people's lives. We save lives. And I said, I'm a servant leader, and my key business is to make sure that I have changed someone's life. That's my key business, and that is what we do at Save a Life. Basically, we run 3 programs. One is whereby we fundraise for the sick who are not able to pay their medical bills. We go all over Kenya, and we say humanity doesn't focus on tribe, race, or religion. We go all over Kenya doing this work. Again, I realized that give a man a fish and teach them how to fish. So I started a center where we train young people in photography, videography, and computer literacy. Because we have some people who are not able to go to the university to pay that fee. So that's what we do. Then again, we have another program whereby we also focus on people who are on the streets, with the aim of transforming them. And so far, we have helped so many who are now responsible citizens in our community. So basically, that's what Save a Life.
All right, and I'm looking at you mentioning one keyword, servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
You mentioned servant leadership, and we are talking about transformative leadership. And I'm trying to look at these two definitive words here. Is there a difference between a servant leader and a transformative leader?
Yes, that's a good question. For me, I think, again, I'm a transformational leader because a transformational leader is someone who has, the focus or the interest of people's lives.
Okay.
Again, with the aim of changing their lives. And not only for a short term, but a long term. And basically, that's what we do as a Save a Life. Because our focus is to make sure that we, for example, we change a community. We train a young person who doesn't have skills. We equip them with photography and computer literacy skills so that he can better his life.
And that is you transforming them.
Transforming them.
And where does servanthood come in now?
Thank you. And I think I'll give a good example of Abraham Lincoln, yeah? And a servant leader is someone who is there to serve others, whereby you don't focus on serving yourself. It's not a personal interest. You don't think of how I'll get that opportunity to better myself, yeah? But with the interest of making sure that you have transformed that person, you have transformed that community.
Correct.
Your interest is to serve. Talk about Jesus Christ. He was a servant leader. His interest was to serve us. And today, that's why we, again, benefit, and that's why we are transformed from his life. So I think a good example is Jesus Christ, because he was a servant leader, and his interest was not his personal gain, but about others.
The gain of others, not about self.
Exactly.
Others.
Exactly.
But then I'm looking at you, Dr. Joseph. You've managed to get into a very interesting field. What is it that drove you to get into transformative leadership, and in particular, Save a Life program?
I think as a Christian, I'll say it's a calling. But again, as a scholar, I'll say I think how my life has been designed. Since I was born in a very humble background. I went to school. Then when I got to class 8, my mother, who was a single mom, she didn't have money to take me to high school. You can imagine, I went to my grandmother, who is my role model, and she gave me 100 bob. She told me, my son, may God give you grace to go to school.
100 shillings.
1,000 shillings.
1,000 shillings. Right.
Yes, and I remember I took that 100 shilling, and that is what took me to school for I say till now, because I went to and started small businesses. Then I didn't go to high school, as many does. I went to a center, and I used to go do hustles, do some jengo, and do some, small jobs. And through doing that, I was able to save, buy books, take some time, read, and after 2 years, I was able to register for that KCSE. And I was that focused. So I think after going through that life, then I met a Korean guy called Hyoyoung, and he took me in as a trainer. He mentored me. He gave me the training as a journalist, as a camera person. Okay? So I met a Korean who gave me an opportunity to study, mentored me. I became a journalist through the training. Then I realized, okay, so someone else can help someone to become someone who can maybe transform the community.
And then you say that I will also do the same.
Perfect. That's how I started. And again, when I was in I was in media, I went to do a story in Korokocho. I found this young girl, and this girl did some money to do the surgery. Her hand was rotting. I did the story, and I got enough money to take the girl to the hospital. Then I realized, okay, I can use my lens, I can use my skills to save her life. Then I realized, okay, this is where I belong. I did the next story at Korokocho. The lady who needed some money to go to hospital to do a cardiac surgery. I got the money, 500,000, $500,000. I took the lady to the hospital, and I realized, okay, this is my area. This is my calling. And when God gives you that, can I say calling or direction, He'll give you wisdom and grace to pursue it. Until today, we are still saving lives. Now we have saved over 5,000. And we are still 5,000. And we are still moving.
And I love what you're doing, because we are looking at Save a Life, a project that goes to the people.
Yes, exactly.
You pick out people's problems, people's issues, and then you try and solve them. But then I'm looking at some of those instances and scenarios that you've met along the way. You've mentioned over 5,000 people that you've met here. Just give me a glimpse of what exactly is going on the ground that you are highlighting this morning.
For example, I'll give you a recent case that we have, and because we get stories through media, because we use a lot of media, we use media to fundraise, and people who I can say who make this happen are the people who send us 100 bob, 50 shilling, 200, 10 shilling, and all that.
Those are the supporters. The
exactly. Because it's not easy. Like every week we have a patient, and some the surgery costs over 3 million. Some 800, 500. So they are expensive surgeries. And every week we have a patient. You can imagine. But I'm grateful because every week we are able to pursue that. And Kenyans, people of goodwill, they normally work with us. They have never given up. And since we started, that's why I'm saying when God gives you a grace, He'll give you also wisdom to continue pursuing. I can assure you that every day we're expanding. We are doing even more. And I'll give an example of what you're doing. A real case study. I went to Turkana, and this family, they had a young boy. And there's one pastor who saw a certain lady who was about to kill her son because he had a big growth, and they could not afford even to pay the money for investigation. Okay, so they sent me the picture. Then I went. I met this young boy. He's called Percy. Then without even having the money, I took the boy to Nairobi. Then I took the boy to Gertrude's hospital. Then through God's grace, although the surgery was very expensive, we were able to do the surgery. I took the boy home after a month when he's completely healed. And this is what we are doing to so many people. I remember, and it's so touching because the man could not afford even to, even we have a language barrier, but what he did, he looked for a goat. He brought the goat to me as a present, as a sign to say thank you. And this is what we are doing as a Save a Life. We don't charge any coin. We go all over Kenya. You'll see us in Malindi, Lamu, Turkana, Samburu. Like now currently we have a case in Samburu that we are pursuing, and we're hoping that we'll help this girl from Samburu who is ailing, has a growth on her face, and this girl, she cannot even again afford to raise money for investigation.
But I'm looking at the process that you go through. How do you manage to pick out all these different Kenyans from different parts of the country and reach out to them?
Thank you. That's a good question. Basically, we have a panel because we get so many cases all over Kenya. We have a panel that selects stories, and we work with great people, doctors. Like we have one called Dr. Meshakonguti. He's a maxi-official doctor working with the Nairobi Hospital. And what we do when we get such stories, we normally share with these doctors. We have another one called, who is the head of Orthopedic Kenya, called Dr. Kilonzo. And when we get such cases of maybe orthopedic, we share with Dr. Kilonzo. When we get any case with maybe a maxi-official case, we share with Dr. Meshakonguti. Then they're able to tell us, okay, this one we can do the surgery. Okay, because most of our cases are surgery based. Then once we share with the doctors, then our team are able to call back and say, okay, this date will be coming to highlight your case. Okay, because I said again, what we do, we work with Kenyans who support with 100, 200 and all that. So we use social media, and I'm grateful today because KBC has been our main partner. Yeah. Again, we have a program on Sunday. Every Sunday at 10 p.m. Repeat is today around 2:30, and they have been our main partners. So what we do when we select story is a panel that goes through the stories. We're able to highlight, to pick one per week. Then we feature that case, look for money, take them to the hospital. Then again, our strength is once we highlight that case, then again we normally come back and show Kenyans, this is what your 10 shilling did. This is what your 20 shilling did. This is what your 100 bob shilling did. So as I said, I'm a servant leader. And my interest and my passion is to see that young boy from Turkana is now okay and he's back to school.
But then I'm looking at the costs that you
implications.
The implications.
Yes.
You have to travel.
Yes.
All the way.
Yes.
For example, you need to go to Samburu.
Yes.
You need to go to Turkana.
Yes.
And all these places. How do you manage to balance here? Because you have the costs, the medical costs, together with other sources, other funding that also need to be.
I love that question, and you know, sometimes I sit down and reflect, and I'm grateful, because you know, when, as I said when I started, when God gives you that calling or that purpose, God will provide.
He provides.
You can imagine, like currently. How it is in Kenya, yeah. But I can assure you, this is the time that we have done the highest surgeries. You can imagine. So God will give you the way. God will show you the way. And I can show, like I gave you an example when I went to Turkana and I picked this young boy. Another case is I went to a place called Burn Forest. Yeah, I met this young man. And this man, he was, you know, he had done 7 surgeries. Then the kilos were coming back, okay? Because he sold the cows, he went to did the surgery, the kilos came back.
And these were surgeries that
he was doing the surgeries now at home before I met him.
Okay.
Then he sold a piece of land, the kilos came back. Okay, then now the family decided, because now Mzee is called Mzee Juma. He's amazing. He's a friend of mine nowadays. And the family saw that now this Mzee will finish everything at home. Then they had to chase him away. Then I met him somewhere, and he was smiling and all that. Then I did the story. I brought the man to Nairobi Hospital. I didn't have money, but the CEO of Nairobi Hospital and the director of the director in charge, they took the case as their own. Were able to pay for investigation and all that to facilitate, but the Nairobi Hospital took the case. That's why I'm saying that if God normally, you know, does something.
Have you ever been in a position where you had to get into your own pocket?
Not once. is part of when you're doing such a work, not once, not twice. Like, I can give an example of how I normally pick some kids, maybe from Samburu of Turkana. I bring them at my place, and my wife has been part of this initiative. I stay with them for a month, not once, because you know what happens is when you want people to rally behind you as a leader, you don't just pursue them by telling them, show them, be an example. So what I do it so that they can able to see, yes, it is possible. Not once, not twice, even today we do that.
And it's important to note here, even as we talk about this, that we are talking about real life situations.
Yes.
Real life stories.
Yes.
Airing every Sunday at 10 p.m. right on KBC Channel 1.
Yes.
And I repeat, is there every
Monday at 2:30. 2:30 p.m.
Yes. So be sure to tune in to KBC today at 2:30 p.m. so that you can be able to get even a glimpse of what we are talking about.
Yes.
We're going to talk about transformative leadership in this particular program.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Murimi, I'm looking at the aspect from the patient, because yes, it is still vital. The reception you get once you get to the ground and you land, for example, in you are recently at is it Western Kenya?
Western Kenya. I think I was in. I went to Bungoma. I went to Vihiga. I went to Kakamega.
Yeah,
doing the same work.
Doing the same work.
Yes.
So how do people receive you when once you arrive? You know, for some they have been, you know, torn apart. Some are feeling tired of life. Some are ashamed of how their situation is. How is the reception?
That's a good question. Yeah. I went to I think in Bungoma. You have a lady that we took last year. She's called Belinda. And Belinda, she had a big growth on her back, yeah? And they didn't have the money to go to hospital. Then I brought her to Nairobi.
Yeah.
Then I took her to Dr. Kilonzo. We did the surgery. So last week I went to see her. And you know what? The reception, they normally, if you watch some of our videos, the community normally gathers. And that is what gives us even that momentum and motivation to continue doing.
It gives you more life.
Exactly. When you see the community is happy, the family is happy. And let me tell you one thing. You know what happens is when you find someone who is sick, for example, Belinda was sick. The mother was sick, the family was sick. You understand? Because even the mother, she's not able to go and look for money to look for this family. Yeah. So you find that if we help that one patient, we help the entire family. Then again, you find that community is happy, and that is what gives me joy as a person. When I say someone who was hopeless, but now she has hope and she's happy. And I think as a person, and that is what gives me motivation to continue serving and doing this, because it's not easy, by the way.
Yeah.
When you go and see such a case, of course it's disturbing. Again, the most even traumatizing part is when you go, you find, for example, Belinda. Give me an example of Belinda. You highlight her story, come back to Nairobi, then after 2 days she's calling you, because when she saw you, she got that hope. Then she's calling you, she's asking, when is the surgery? When we pick a case, we normally look for the doctors, look for the hospital, and for the money. So when we highlight a story, after a day or two, they are calling, asking, when is the surgery?
Yeah.
Okay? So it's up to me and the team to make sure that we have gotten the way for her surgery.
Because they are expectant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet, do you go there knowing very well the full budget of this particular surgery?
What we do, most of our surgery are complex, they're expensive. So as I said, we have a panel of doctors that we work with, so they're able to approximate. But again, I'll give an example of a boy called from Utawala. This boy, we did the story, then I took her to the hospital. Then the same doctor called Dr. Kilonzo is the one who did the surgery. Then again, sometimes because the surgery took 9 hours, he had a big growth in his head, yeah? Then again, he went to the ICU for like a day or two. you find the budget which was around 400 to shoot up to 600. So it happens not once. Even the later case that we had, the one that we did with the surgery last week, the boy went to the ICU, I think for a day or two. You find that the budget, the bill that we were given shoots.
So the approximate is different from the actual.
Up to us, Save a Life, again to go back and look for money. But I want to assure you that today, as I stand here, we don't have any patient who is locked, who is not able to go home because of finances. Because what? Because God is providing. Kenyans who are watching are the people who have been driving this organization. Kenyans who gives as small as 10 bob, 20, 100, 1,000, the people who have been doing this work. And I'm grateful today.
And I want us to take a short break.
Yes.
I'm interested in looking at even further the things that are out there that some of us aren't aware of. You know, some of these things that we just see them, but we don't really feel how important they are until it actually reaches home.
True.
You never know the value of life or the value of good health. And I'm looking at you as an individual.
That's true.
Those things that you've managed to go there, and once you see them, is a shocker.
Is a shocker. Is a shocker.
Let's take a break, and then we'll be back. You will tell me about how some of these experiences that you've had while moving or traversing through the country have been for you. Because I'm interested in even learning the personal notes you've managed to get. All right? This is Good Morning Kenya. We'll be back in a bit. All right, welcome back. One thing that I've noted while we were conversing this morning is that each one of us has something to do. What are you doing to change the life of your neighbor? What are you doing to change the life of a fellow Kenyan? Well, this morning is all about transformative leadership, and I am with Dr. Joseph Murimi here, the founder of Save a Life. Daktari,
Yes.
before we took that break, we were talking about some of those receptions that you've been receiving, you know, those feedback you've been getting from the ground. You go there, somebody calls you 2 days later after you've aired their story on KBC. And I'm looking at the life lessons that you've managed to pick out from this. Has there been that instance where, of course I know there has been, but that one that you've managed to pick out at some point, one day at a time, when you got there, you went there, and you felt like, wow, this one is a lesson that I will live to remember?
Thank you. Thank you. Back to basics, yeah?
Basics.
Then after going to school, getting an opportunity to go to school, then again after getting a job, a good job, I realized that life is not about, you know, becoming wealthy, buying things, you know, and feeding your family and all that. But life is about, you know, creating those moments, creating, you know, can I say, experiences, and serving the community. And what gives me joy is when I visit such a family. And like last month, we had a big celebration in Nyamira. There's a lady called Jane Mora. Jane Mora was sick for, I think she was 76 when we met her, and she had a big growth on her back. Then the family were told that because of finances, we cannot, this is impossible. In fact, when I met the lady, the family told me, no, we were told that this is not possible. I took that lady to brought her to Nairobi. Again, I took her to the same doctor, Dr. Kilonzo. And after taking this lady back to her place after the surgery, last month we had a big celebration, and the entire family and the community were happy. We were celebrating and all that. And this is what gives us joy. Seeing, you know, giving that hope. You know, people who are happy, The lady who had no, hope in life, but now she's happy. She's back to her normal, farming and all that. We get that, even zeal and motivation to continue doing this. And I realized that as a person, because again, sometimes we are in our cocoon. We are so enclosed that we think that life is about, creating wealth, working hard for you and your family,
and sometimes you take things for granted.
For granted, yeah. And you don't realize what you can do with that extra coin that you can sacrifice and help someone. And by doing this, even on our program, we don't again talk about only the few people that we are helping. We talk about people who that you live with them. Yeah, because I said I'm a Christian, and Jesus Christ talk about servant leaders. He talk about helping your neighbor.
Yes.
Then the Bible says that if you see your neighbor who is struggling, but you cannot help them, then you can say that you love God. Okay? So that's why I tell people that we cannot live like an island. If God has blessed you with resources, it's not because He loves you only, or maybe it's because the resources are only for you and your family, but also to be a blessing to others. If you have a child who is suffering, maybe you can do something. You can maybe buy them shoes or books or something. Do that. If you see a street kid that you can transform, you can help, why not? If God has given you brains, skills, and resources, it's so that you can be a blessing to someone else there. And that's why I keep on saying that there's nothing good than helping someone, changing someone's life. And for me, I do this work because of three things. One, I know that service to humanity is service to God. As I do this, I'm serving God. Two, for those who believe in science, again, it is therapeutic. When you help someone, for example, who was sick, then after the surgery you see the same person, you're happy, you feel good. It is therapeutic. And keep to enjoy, you feel good, and you want to do that more. Again, the third thing, that's the reason why I do that, is because when I see someone who is suffering, if I help that person, I help that person to better his life, then again, I also help his family. And it is magical when you do this. It's always amazing.
And I love what you say, because you're also incorporating the spiritual aspect of this particular conversation here, trying to give out to the needy. And you've given some references to even the Bible, Jesus Christ talking about helping the needy, when there's even a verse in the Bible that says that when I was hungry, you did not feed me. When I was naked, you did not clothe me, because you need to help the needy. And through that, you are fulfilling even God's desires. You are helping to keep the love of God continuing. But then, Dr. even as you're doing that, how do you ensure accountability? Because somebody may say, I need to send my donation, I need to do this, but is there accountability in the whole process?
I love that's a good question. Save a Life is a registered organization. That's why we call it Save a Life Community.
Yes.
That's we involve people like you, and we have been working with media since we started. Work with media. We are always on TV. We are always on radio. We are always on Facebook, showing that what we do. So that means we are transparent. Another aspect of a transformational leader is being transparent, being open. Okay, so we open up. Every case that we tell, we normally tell people every case. And you also, if you go to my Facebook page, that is Dr. Joseph Murimi Save a Life Community, you'll see all the stories, telling all the stories and what we do. So we are open, and we call each and everyone who wants to come and visit Save a Life to come to our offices. But again, what we do after quarterly, because we are a registered organization. We do auditing. And what we do, we work with the government, then again we work with the community. So what we do, Joseph here is just a servant who is linking this sick person to the audience, people who can help. You understand? So what I keep on saying is that Save a Life is not mine, is not for people who are working with Save a Life, but Save a Life is for the community. And that's why we are that open. We are open that we tell, we share everything. And sometimes people are, you're too open. You're on media. You're all over, because I tell them this thing is for the community. It's not, and I told you earlier when I started that I'm a servant leader. Mm-hmm. A servant leader is someone who has people's at heart. Mm-hmm. Our key business is that kid who is struggling in Turkana, in Samburu. Yeah. Our key business is to help that person who needs help. Mm-hmm. Our key business is to give hope to those people who have given up in life. And as we do this, we again reach hundreds of people every week, telling them that if you are blessed, be a blessing to someone else. Consider at least sacrificing. I have a friend of mine who sometimes I approached him and he told me that when I get a lot of money, I'll help you. I told him, that's a scam. That's a scam. Helping
why
is
it a scam?
Because you can say that at least kundapata pesa nyingi ndio ndakusaidia. That's a scam. Giving is sacrifice. You need to sacrifice. You don't have to wait when you have a lot of money so that we'll give.
Even the little that you have.
Sometimes we sacrifice that breakfast, that lunch, so that for that boy. That's what we do.
That's I was wondering whether you actually got into that point. And
I told you I host patient at my place. Not once. Not only that. We travel. For example, I'm working during the day. Then at night I'm traveling, so that I have like 2 days, go do this work. Then, I also do my normal to pay my bills, yeah? So I'm also working, I'm also doing other things beside now this humanity work, yeah? So again, you can imagine balancing my work and also helping. I sacrifice, I travel at night. You travel, your time, your resources, and all that is not easy. But sometimes, sometimes you feel like giving up. But when you remember that this calling came from God, this is your purpose in life, then you have energy to continue. Because it's not easy.
Have you ever felt like giving up?
Not once. Not once. Sometimes you feel like this is too much. You have a bill to pay. You have some money to pay. You don't have money. Again, you need to pay, you have your bills to pay for this boy from Samburu. Then again, you have your bills to pay at home. Then sometimes what do you do? Then again, you need to recognize that the reason why God has given you this ability so that you can serve your community and serve your family. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
And what gives me momentum or motivation to continue going is to see, then again, that boy after the surgery, back to school, doing well. That I have a lady called Diana Tulo from Nairobi. This girl, I met her. She has done 4 surgeries, yeah. And this girl has done 4 surgeries in a public hospital, and they were backfiring. They were not working. She had a big hernia. Then I asked myself, if she has done 4 surgeries, will it work? I took the girl. Again, I took her to Dr. Kilonzo. I'm grateful because after that surgery, the girl is now doing well. Again, I went ahead and I took that girl to school. And now she's back to school doing very well. That's what gives us energy to continue doing.
Dr.
Yes.
One good thing that you say is that you gave out your heart towards this particular desire, to this mission to save lives. And because of this, congratulations. Because you got a honorary, you got recognized, and I want you to just mention that within a minute about this particular recognition that you received.
You know, one thing about serving, people will always see what you're doing, and we have gotten people recognizing our work, institutions, organizations, and all that. Then I think 2 years ago, I got a call from a certain university.
Yes.
And they told me that you're doing a good job. Then like to recognize you as someone who is serving the community. And they gave me a doctoral degree in human letters for what I'm doing, because they have seen what I'm doing. And sometimes it gives you, when some people sit and see what they're doing and they come calling. It is inspiring, yeah?
Dr. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It goes without saying.
Thank you.
And I know somebody out there watching us today will want to reach out to you. How can they do that?
We are open on my Facebook page. That is Dr. Joseph Murimi, Save a Life Community. If you drop me a message, I'll call back. On my Facebook page, on our website, that is www.savealifecommunity. You'll see our numbers, you'll see our YouTube, and again on that website you'll see all our work. The story that I'm telling you have captured, you'll see all our work there on our website. Then again, I'll take this opportunity again to appreciate each and everyone, each and who has been sacrificing the 10 shilling, the 5, the 20, the 100, just to save a life. Thank you. Because I'll tell them that nyinyi ni shujaa, let's continue doing this and never give up, because service to humanity is service to God. Let's continue doing this, and I love you so much.
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Joseph Murimi, founder, Save a Life. Dr. Keep on doing what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
May God bless you and the work of your hands. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Asante.
And it is on that note that we bring this conversation to a close. A very good point, or a good place to end that particular conversation here on Good Morning Kenya. Still keep up with our programs, because Save a Life is a program that comes on KBC, your #1 channel of choice, every Sunday 10 p.m. and a repeat every Monday at 2:30 p.m. Meaning today, tune into that particular program. You'll be able to see more about what we are talking about. Let's take a short break and then we'll be back with more. Keep it Good Morning Kenya.